Hey Red Zone community, I'm here at the Bavarian Coaches Convention with one of the best quarterbacks in Europe in the last few years.
Thank you.
You're welcome, it's well deserved.
Yeah,
Sean Shelton from the SWARCO Raiders.
Nice to be here, thanks.
It's an honor to have you.
Oh, appreciate it.
And you've been talking about RPOs in your presentation.
A little bit, yeah.
Get into what you also have on your chest, your QB Academy.
Yeah.
You're teaching quarterbacks right now in Austria.
Yeah. I run camps when I get the time. You know, the Raiders keep me pretty busy, but when I have free weekends, I try to host camps and teach quarterbacks about the fundamentals of quarterback play, whether that be technique and footwork and mentality and how to approach it, how to take care of your body. I just want to be a resource to European quarterbacks because I think that's one thing that doesn't exist all the time. And for European quarterbacks, it's hard to know who to go to and where to go to, and I just want to be that guy for them.
Yeah. And I guess it would be awesome for European teams to also have their homegrown quarterbacks.
Sure. I think it's a huge advantage. I mean, look at what Jordan Newman's been able to do. I mean, he's won national championships with 2 homegrown quarterbacks at different places. And I think it adds a huge advantage of being able to surround them with talent and imports, and not only have to play an imported quarterback. It limits you. With these other guys could play multiple positions, play special teams. I'm not trying to talk myself out of a job, or I think there'll always be place for American quarterbacks, but I think European football will progress when European quarterbacks progress.
Yeah. Yeah, we previously talked about that if you have a good European quarterback, your receivers get better, your offensive line.
Not in a format like this. My personal belief and why I really started this is I think football in Europe will not grow or see its potential until at the younger levels or the lower levels of divisions have competent QBs that can help run more sophisticated, complex offenses to help improve all positions. When you have a quarterback that can operate more complex running schemes, offensive line, running backs get better. When you can do more complicated passing schemes, receivers get better, pass protections get better. When you have better offenses, defenses get better at younger ages because they're not just defending quarterback sweeps and stuff like that. So I might be biased because I'm a quarterback, but I think that position is vital for the progression of the sport in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And you want to impact especially the younger ages?
Yeah, the younger age. I love to get guys at 15, 16. Try not to touch them before that. And quarterbacks of lower level teams that they don't have the budget to bring in import quarterbacks, or nor do they want to. I love to get guys early or really work with quarterbacks that play on lower level teams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of imports, you in Austria have different import rules than we in Germany do. Mm-hmm. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Sure, it's a completely different setup. It's really truly a semi-pro structure compared to a purely amateur structure. Europeans anybody from Europe can go in Germany and play, and I'm not 100% sure if there's a limit, but there's a significant amount of guys who do that. French guys, British guys, Finnish guys, whatever. And also there are a lot more Americans on the field at one time too. So in my opinion, you get a better product, right? You have more professionals, more guys who take this very seriously, a lot more talent, or not a lot more, but more talent on the field at one time. Where in contrast, the Austrian League, you're limited in the amount of Americans you can bring in, 2 this year, 2 or 3, depending on where you finished the year before. And you can't bring in European guys and pay them and play. So if you have a void on your team, man, we don't have an outside linebacker. We can't just go to Germany and find a guy. We can't go to Italy. We have to develop our own talent. We have to plan ahead. Mm-hmm. And we really have to make sure that this team is in good shape for years to come, because we can't rely on recruiting where it's not possible. We do get some guys coming to Innsbruck and studying that may be German or whatever nationality, and that's great, and they're able to play. But it can't be we can't pay anybody, and we can't benefit them financially in any way.
Yeah. Does that also impact the competition in the Austrian Football League? Because it's mostly like SWARCO wins most of the years, and Vienna wins a little bit, and that's basically it, kind of.
Yeah, I think you find that in every league, though. The AFL last year had 10 teams, I believe, and in the past had 8 teams last year, and trying to expand to 10, or had anywhere since I've been in Austria from 5 to 10 teams. And yeah, so we've had a lot of the same teams. The Raiders have made it to the last 8, I think, Austrian Bowls. But is that really different than any other country? Every other country has a handful. You know, Germany has a GFL has 16 teams in the GFL, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
How many of those teams really have a shot every single year? 5, 6? Yeah, so it's like there's a big disparity in talent in every league.
That's true.
You look at Finland, the Helsinki Roosters have won the last, I don't know how many championships.
Yeah, but it's not, for you it's not like boring half of the year playing against the teams that maybe not at your talent level?
Yeah. I see what you're getting at, and it can be. It very much can be. But you look at those games against lesser opponents who are still developing teams, and you look at it as a different challenge. Like, can I get these young players going against these teams? And you find a way to challenge yourself, maybe with different personnel, with different concepts that you're trying or whatever. But it would be great to see more parity and more competition in all leagues. And in Austria, I think you just have to look at the Nachwuchs numbers. And actually, the Raiders are actually the ones that break the rule, because we haven't had championships in the Nachwuchs program, the youth program, for a while. But you see the top teams oftentimes have the top youth programs, because you have to push them through. And that's why Austria also has some of the best junior national teams, is because we focus on youth, and I think that may be a product of this amateur setup. We have to do this. We can't depend on things elsewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, to benefit from your competition, you're also participating now in the ECTC tournament. To get some competition from somewhere else, or what's what are you expecting from the other teams?
We expect really, really good competition. I don't think it's fair to say that we play internationally because we're looking for more competition, although that might be the case as well. But I think the Raiders have always prided themselves on playing internationally, and that's why we bring in American colleges. That's why we are ambitious in our international scheduling. So I think it's a pillar of the Raiders to do that. But as far as competition, I expect really, really good teams. You know, last year it wasn't the Big Six, and we didn't play the Braunschweigs or the Schwäbisch, but we played some really good football teams, and I think from countries that people don't expect from. The team from the Koç Reigns from Turkey was a really good football team. You know, the Rorkov is a really good football team. It wasn't a competitive game last year, but they've given us a game 2 years ago. You know, the Roosters this year are a great football team. Vienna obviously is a good football team. So I think there's champions from leagues that you wouldn't expect that actually play pretty good football.
Yeah, and you're looking forward to that.
Of course, challenge. Of course. It's always fun to play. It's always fun to play new teams and from countries that you never even been to. You know, it's a cool experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. And now that we have such an expert in offense, and you talked about RPOs before, I want to get you to the drawing board.
Okay, sounds good.
Show me something.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's not exactly an RPO. It's one of my favorite passing concepts that the Raiders run quite a bit, and I don't feel bad about sharing it because everybody knows we run it quite a bit. And it's a play that we like to do for easy throws and catches. You know, a lot of times when defenses play trips, they put backers to the field more so, like they'll apex a backer out here, and whether they're playing one or two high, oftentimes they have weaknesses in coverages towards the boundary, and we like to pick on that every once in a while to make easy throws and catches, right? And oftentimes it's not looks like this. Oftentimes we get looks where this guy will roll down, because we have a boundary running scheme in this formation as well. So we get this a lot. When we get this a lot, it's a really, really nice passing concept that I really enjoy. And it's just a snag game. And so this guy's going to come up, attack the backside of him, and try to sit down in the next window. And while running a swing with him. And basically all we're doing is we're trying to make him wrong.
To isolate him?
Isolate him, exactly. And he's going to come in and fit in here. He's going to run like a little receiver screen, and he's going to run like a post dig backside. So if they do push and run to the boundary, which isn't often because a lot of people push and run to the field, we have options backside, but oftentimes it hits front side. And it's a really nice read. It's really easy. I like my youth quarterbacks love it. And it's really like it's an awesome play for any situation. Maybe not third and short where you're getting man. It's not very good against man. But teams that really like to run zone, and even if we do have this too high front or this too high backfield, it's still a really, really nice concept, because is he going to follow? Is he going to sit here? There's a natural void there. Yeah. It's a really, really nice, easy throw and catch. That's a high completion throw. Yeah. And I like high completion throws. It makes things easy. Always nice. Anytime you make it easy for the quarterback, I'm a happy man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for dropping some knowledge.
No problem.
It's been nice to have you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah.